We are at the end of January, and I'm just now doing the thing I said I was going to do on January 1st. But I'm not mad at myself. Not this year. I've come up with something to help me, and I hope it helps you too, because I live in chronic pain. And if you live in chronic pain, everybody's running around talking about it's going to be their best year, and this is what I'm going to do. I have these big goals. I have done that many a times, and I couldn't run with them. Because every time I'm running along with them, something is breaking down, I'm dropping something. I got to have another surgery. So this year, I came up with 3 things that I am going to use. 3 fingers, look at me counting. I have neurologically challenged hands, brain fog, and vision problems right now. So I got 3 tips to help us, hopefully. You may have more. If you have a tip that you're using this year, please drop it in the comments and help me and other people who are watching this channel and reading the comments. Okay, so hi. I'm Rakia of Mind of Rakia, and I am a medical trauma multi-toxicity survivor. I created this channel to help others heal along with me. I know I'm not the only one going through chronic pain, living in chronic pain, and experiencing the things that I've experienced. I have had 5 surgeries over the past 13 years. So I've had my knees replaced. I've had a hysterectomy. I've had spinal fusion. I've had a vitrectomy. I have brain fog. I have a shoulder. I have all kind of musculoskeletal problems. So head and shoulders, knees and toes. Head and shoulders, knees and toes. That's your girl. That's what I have. If you have any of those, this might be your place. Anyway, so tips. Tip number 1. Make sure that your goal is an attainable goal. And that within that goal, there's another goal. So, for me, I want to finish my bestseller. I'm a children's book author. I've already published a chapter book series called Weekend and Zay. I write for reluctant readers. Little plug right there. And I want to finish what I know I'm working on, or I was working on a book that I kept telling everybody is my bestseller. Actually, when they heard it, they said it was a bestseller. And I'm like, yeah, it's my bestseller. I'm telling the doctors, this is my bestseller. Help me get my hands back. Help me get my spine right. So I want to finish this book. But my goal is big. I want to finish my bestseller. I want to get an agent, and I want a 6-figure deal. Okay, that's my goal for this year. But of those 3 things, there's only one thing one thing I can do. I can finish my book. Okay, so within that goal, I need to make sure that I have some wiggle room, and I plan, but I have a backup plan. I pivot with my plan. So my backup plan, or the actual plan, the goal within the goal. Let me slow down. The goal within the goal is to just, first of all, finish the book. So how will I do that? I haven't looked at it in a few months. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the manuscript. This is step 1. Look at it. See if I can just continue writing from there, or if I have to go backwards and reread it and spring forward. Whatever needs to be done. That's a step that I'm going to be taking. Then I'm going to start writing. And I'm not going to say, you're going to have 10 chapters done by the end of the month, because I've done that already and it hasn't happened. So I'm giving myself attainable goals. If I write a chapter one day, if these hands say it's chapter time, if I can write, a page, if I can write a sentence, whatever I can do, I'm working towards that goal. And hopefully that I will reach that, and then I can put it out there. My next step in my goal is to query to get an agent. That's still on me. So there's things I got to do the first step first, finish writing the book, make sure I get some eyes on it, edit it, get some feedback, then send it out to an agent, get an agent, and then the 6-figure deal is up to God and the agent and the publishing houses. So that's that. That will be the goal. So I'm starting where I'm doing what I can do. I also have to be flexible to pivot. And I say that because right now, I don't know. I want to do this, but is this for me? Is this what God has for me right now? So I'm going to plan. I'm going to, man plans, God laughs. I'm planning on finishing this book this year. We'll see what happens. Example, in 2016, I left my job. I was a children's book. I'm not stopping this video. Listen, I already recorded this video, went straight through. It was perfect, and the sound was off. And I did a video before that. I don't know how it happened. I think my screensaver came on during the last video, and it turned the mic off. I don't know what happened. But anyway, So I'm redoing this video. So we're going to have mistakes in it. And this is what this life is. My life is not perfect right now. So I started, I was a paraprofessional in the school system. I worked with kids, gen and sped ed. I did stuff after school with them and dancing, singing, rapping, all of that. But it took a lot out of me. And I said, well, there's a better way I can reach these kids. I'll start my own company. And so I did it. I did a motivational educators tutoring company. And it was just really hard because education is a hard sell. It's taxing on me trying to work with the students, their parents, and the school system. And it just was not working, but I just kept pushing. But about 5 years, I was just like, it's not working. My body said, when I left the job in 2016, my body said, oh, good, I'm tired. I'm so glad you did that. And it proceeded to fall apart, between having to, my brain was bothering me. Then it was my neck, back and knees, and then after seeing multiple doctors, I ended up having a hysterectomy. Don't ask, don't tell. Excessive bleeding. Anyway, and once I took that piece out, the uterus came out and the ovaries, it was like my body said, Jenga. I needed that piece, and it just, I will never do that again. Not that I have a choice, but I'm telling you right now, if you're up for a hysterectomy, if it's not life-threatening, like, you have cancer or whatever, if it's not life-threatening, get a second, third, fourth, 15th opinion. Because once you lose it, you can't get it back. And it just really took my life someplace else. And in the midst of all that, I found out that I was suffering. I was living in a toxic mold environment, and I had mycotoxins in my system that was wreaking havoc on all of the surgeries that I've had and causing, most likely, my eyes. It caused the eye surgery. So I say all that to say, you never know what's going to happen. I left my job, left the security of my job, and all of a sudden my body said, nah, I'm tired. You go ahead and try that. So as I was doing that, when I finally said, I'm going to stop, it's not working, it was during the pandemic. And I became a children's book author. I met someone online that was talking, and they were talking about they had this group of Black creators, and I was like, okay, can I join? I joined, and one thing led to another, and I have 2 published chapter books out now. So yay! But I had to be flexible to pivot, because you never know. If I had kept booming the motivational educators, then I don't know if I would be an author right now. I don't know if that would have ever come about for me. So we have to be flexible when we're planning our goals. When you live in pain, when you don't know what your body's going to do day in and day out, when you have undiagnosed conditions. In my case, I had undiagnosed mold, toxic mold living in my body. I still do. I'm in the process of detoxing. That's why I look like this. But anyway, that's tip 1. Have a goal within a goal, plan with a backup plan, and pivot. That's a lot in that tip, but Anyway, tip 2 is give yourself grace. So that's my word for the year. I am giving myself grace. Right now, I am redoing a video that I did well, and now I don't know, but I'm going to keep going. So that's tip 2. So giving myself grace. Also in that, I had to remember that. So I started, I'm going to get these videos done, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then things kept happening to my body or my mind, and I just got to my body started attacking. My mind was like, how are you going to do this? And you can't even hold a pencil, or how it's just a whole lot just coming at you. How it comes at you, just coming at you. So I was like, didn't you say you were going to give yourself grace? Okay. Give yourself grace, Rakia. Grace for yourself. Grace for the year. My grace comes from God. So, thank you. I'm good with that. I have to remember to receive it. I'm going to take a sip of water because I have dry mouth. Did I mention that? And I talk fast and I have a lisp. So that's a lot. Anyway, I have to give myself grace because it's hard. We've been through, if you're living in chronic pain, undiagnosed condition, recovering from something, or you have a condition that's not properly treated, then, we need all the grace we can get. And I hope that tip, that if there's any tip that I say, giving yourself grace, I think that's the biggest thing we can do for ourselves. Even grace in meeting the other tips, grace to pivot. So I want to make sure that I remember to do that. Make sure you remember when the attacks come and your mind is like saying, negative things to you. Remember to give yourself grace because you've been through a lot. You're still here. So give yourself grace. I'm still here. Tip 3, reward yourself. Okay, make sure that when you've done the thing you said you were going to do, and you did it hard, and you did it afraid, and you did it in pain, and you did it ugly. That's what, like, if I'm doing it, I'm just doing it. Okay, then reward yourself. For me, my rewards aren't going to be super financial because that's not my wheelhouse. That's not my wheelhouse. I'm struggling right now. But my tips are: I love K-dramas. Okay. I will binge a K-drama. I'm sitting around still trying to make sure I can do my hands. I love K-dramas. So, and I will watch more than one episode at a time. So I haven't watched any yet this year because I am trying to get through starting this YouTube channel. So I'm probably watching them now. I'm probably sitting back with my iced Americano, okay? I'm minding my business. But, yeah, reward yourself. Or I like coffee. So I will make myself a special coffee, or maybe I'll even treat myself to one. But to be honest, I make coffee better than Starbucks. Shh. But I use their beans. Anyway, so I might treat myself to a specialty coffee house or what have you, if I can afford that. Or just little things, whatever, you know what you like. So whatever you like that's in your ability to do it for yourself, reward yourself, because we've been through a lot. And we're still here. And we're still moving forward. My son, when I was trying to find out what was wrong with me, one of my sons, he was like, well, why don't you just stop going to the doctor? Just give yourself a break. And I said, I can't. I said, because I got to know what's wrong. I know something is wrong with me. I have to figure it out. And so I kept going. And sure enough, I got a doctor that, it was a foot doctor, no less. I was seeing a podiatrist. She referred me to a neuropathy doctor that works on the lower extremities. And she was like, okay, well, they have all of these words, because I told her I have generalized axonal sensory motor polyneuropathy, which basically means that my sensory and my motor skills are jacked because my nerves are compressed or my nerves are damaged. So when I told her, I have sensory motor polyneuropathy, or no, I have generalized axonal sensory motor polyneuropathy, which affects my speech, as you just saw there. They call it GASP, for real. But anyway, she said to me, all these words. She said, all these names, all these words. And she was throwing names out as she was examining me, but that was for her records. But she was like, all these words. And she was like, what, but the why? We can give a word. We can say you have that. And to be honest, the treatment they tried to give me was not working for me. I couldn't understand why. If you're giving me a medicine, it's making me feel worse. And she's like, I'm going to refer you to my team member, my homeopathic doctor, and she's going to test you for things you've never been tested before. And sure enough, when she tested me, when she met with me, she was like, I think it's mold. You have the markers for mold toxicity. And I did my test, and sure enough, the blood test showed, but I tested my home. And when I did that, at first I did the immunolytics test, and then I did a home inspector. But when I did the home inspector, he found toxic mold in my house. Stachybotrys hanging out with Chatomium and Aspergillus and Penicillium. They all chilling, okay, and wreaking havoc on me and my son. So I am forgetting what I was about to say. Bottom line is, I don't know. Let me get to my chicken scratch notes here. Reward yourself. We've been through a lot. If you are suffering from mold toxicity, yes, see, there we go. We're back. If you are listening to me and you're suffering from mold toxicity, you have done so much. You deserve all the rewards in the world. You've been through so much. And if you are listening to me and you've seen every doctor there is to see, check your environment. It's not talked about. They're not trained. Medical doctors are not trained in that in medical school. So they only know allergies. They don't know. It's out there. You can Google it and see it's neurological. It will cause damage. It causes organ damage. It's out there, but they're not trained and they're not focused on that unless you're seeing an environmental medicine doctor or a functional medicine doctor, which are usually not covered by insurance. So that's my goal. Also, another goal is to get one of those, to get at least one of those doctors to help me through this, because now I have new insurance and I can't see my old doctors. But anyway, to wrap this all up, because I'm off track. All right, tip 1 is make your goal attainable, go within a goal, and be able to pivot. Tip 2 is give yourself grace. And tip 3, which I'm giving myself right now, tip 3 is to reward yourself. Okay, that's all I got. If you made it this far, please like this video, share it with somebody that's going through a similar situation, or if you have a family member or friends, or just share it anyway, because people are suffering and the medical healthcare system is failing us left and right. So definitely share the video, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to cover my surgeries I've been through, and just the detoxing. Lots of my life. It's a lifestyle channel, and when I get my life back, it'll be me living it in another country. Okay, but anyway, please subscribe to the Mind of Rakia, where I tell all my business so it won't be yours. See you in the next one. Bye.